90% of posters that you see at conferences or at the corridors of your university are really, really bad. So in this video, I will teach you how to create an award-winning poster in 5 steps. We're going to understand the purpose of a research poster, how to create the content, the visuals, the flow, and finally the design of that research poster. But before we start, a quick introduction. If you don't know me yet, hi, I'm Ainur. I'm a third-year PhD student in chemical engineering at Imperial College London, and I made it my mission to teach you every secret I know in academia for all my social media channels, video by video. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video and let's talk about the purpose of a research poster. A research poster is not a literature review. A research poster serves 2 main things. The first thing is as a networking tool. Okay, you go to a conference, you hang up your poster, you stand right in front of that poster, people approach you, people talk to you. It's a conversation starter, you discuss your project with them, you communicate and you network with different people. And most importantly, it's not a wall of text. It's not an essay, okay? If it comes to something and you want something compared with a visual abstract. So of all the things that you did, a research poster comes very close to a visual abstract. So you really just want to show what your research is about, okay? So this is about the purpose of it. So now let's talk about how to create an award-winning research poster and how to avoid the most common mistakes while doing that, okay? Let's start with the first thing, and that is to create a script. So before you even open the software of your choice to create your poster, we have to think about what is the script of our research poster. Now, when you think of the script of it, there is one thing. The first thing that you're going to ask yourself is, what is the number one message I want to convey through my research poster? So if I were to ask you now, tell me your research in 1 sentence. In 1 sentence, you only have 1 sentence to tell me what your research is. That 1 sentence is the key message of your research poster, okay? Now we're going to think, how can we convey that key message through that poster? Speaking of audience, who is your audience, okay? This is a question that you're going to ask yourself, the second question that you're going to ask yourself before you even start scripting it. Whom are you presenting your research poster to? Because you know there are different kinds of conferences. There are the super niche conferences that everybody knows exactly what you're doing. They know the jargon, they know all the language around that research. So you can keep it very detailed, very niche, and very on an expert level, and people will understand your research and your poster, and they'll even expect that poster to be on that expert level. But then there are conferences that are very, very general. So for example, there is like this huge chemical engineering conference happening every year. And chemical engineering is a very broad field, and the stuff that I do is very niche within that chemical engineering community. So for me to come up with a poster there using very niche jargon, very niche language, very niche figures, that's just not what this is about, right? Because I just want to communicate my research to a very broad audience. So what is your main message? Who is your audience? Very important for your script, okay? Once you figured that down, you can now divide your poster into different sections. You can think of like, what is the introduction, methodology, results, summary, conclusion, all that, and think of who your audience is, and depending on that, make the results section bigger or the methodology section bigger, depending also on what stage of your research you're in. If you're just started with your PhD and you have to present something, you won't have any results, right? Whereas if you're a final year PhD student, you have lots of results, then you're going to focus more on your results. Now you have to be very picky with your figure. Like before you even start designing your research poster, like make a bullet point list of all the information that you want to convey, pick out the figures that you want to show, and less is more. Really make sure that you just get the most important stuff and only things that serve the need to communicate that 1 sentence that you told me in the beginning, that one thing your research is about. Anything else, any additional information, we don't need it. Leave it out. Now, let's talk about the concept. Step number 2 in designing your poster. Now, the concept for that, we're going to think about, first of all, what are the guidelines of that conference? Are they looking for like landscape posters in that format or portrait posters in that format? What is the poster size? Create panels, be like, okay, like my results check section is going to be this big. I don't know, my research gap or importance of my research section is like that big and it's on the left side. Like think about, where am I putting what information? Think about white space. We really just want to put like 60% of that poster should be filled and 40% should be empty, nothing there, because we want to make it visually appealing and not crowded with information and wall of. Also, speaking of appealing, visuals, okay? Look, think of it like this. You need to find like 1 or 2 pictures, photos, graphs, whatever that is, that are very appealing to the eye and will hook people into your posters. That people, when they walk by your poster, that then they look at that picture and they're like, hey, wait, what is that about? Super interesting. Let me ask that person what their research is about, right? So think of it like the thumbnail, yeah? My thumbnail of this YouTube video should hook you in, and your picture in your poster should hook your audience in, so that they click on that video, or in your case, stand by your poster and engage with it, right? So what is a picture that you can use that hooks people in? Use that. Now, once you've got all that down, you've got the structure now, you've got an idea on the content that you want to present, we're going to now talk about the design of your poster, okay? When you pick a color scheme, make sure to stick to a few colors. Don't overdo it. For example, at Imperial College, most universities have their own color schemes anyways. We have that Imperial blue that comes in different shades, and you just use that. If you don't have that, stick to your own color scheme, but really don't mix and match and add too many colors to it. You want to keep it simple. Also, in terms of fonts, like what's super cool is if you use like font size 90 for the title, 60 for the headings, and then around 36 for the main body text. That ratio works very well. And also don't use like these calligraphic, weird looking text fonts. Use simple stuff that people can actually read and don't struggle with reading at all. Not gonna make it more interesting. Another cool tip here is to use a QR code somewhere on your poster so that people can connect with you on LinkedIn or on Google Scholar or on whatever page you wanna like direct them to. QR code is super useful for that. Keep your background neutral. Don't add any fancy image or poster or picture to your background. Keep it in a neutral color. Make sure that almost 50% of your entire poster is about figures and graphs and not text. And then maybe another 10 to 20% text, max 10 to 20%, and then the rest is literally nothing. You know, enough white space for the eye to catch up with all that information. Make sure that you keep an eye on the resolution. So around 300 dpi is great for figures and for these huge A0 format posters. Very important. When you import pictures and photos, that's very important for the print. So once you're done with all that, okay, so you've got your script ready, your concept, you wrote everything, got your layout, now you have to get it ready for print, okay? Now, before you get it ready for print, what you can do is get feedback, okay? This is the same as it is for a visual abstract. So when I show you that poster, get feedback from your colleagues and be like, hey, what do you think this poster is about? Like, what's your first thought when you see that poster? Do you get the main message once you look at it for a couple seconds? You know, that one sentence that you wrote down in the beginning. Does that person get that from what you created? If no, okay, you might probably need to like redo some stuff. If yes, then good job. And also really don't rely on yourself, because you're the expert in that field anyways, and obviously everything is gonna make sense to you, but really like it comes down to what other people think of your poster and how they understand it, so that you can really see like whether this poster conveys the messages that you wanted to convey, right? And for the printing, make sure that you print it out with a matte finish, because shiny posters, especially with the lighting at these conferences, it's really hard sometimes read then the text on it or see the figures and the graphs and everything. So a matte finish for posters is great. Yeah, print it out, check it out, and then present it. So summing it up, if you're asking like what are the main messages here from this entire video, it's really to know your audience, to have one message that you want to communicate through that, and to think of a poster as a tool to communicate your research and to connect with different people, okay? And really keep it simple. Don't put too much text on it. Use visually appealing visuals, and then keep an eye on the printing requirements, on the resolution of the pictures that you use, and then you'll be good to go. And believe me, the award-winning posters are really definitely not the ones with the wall of text and the too much information. Award-winning posters usually have very few text in it, and they have really like visually appealing figures and graphs that just attract attention, and that's what you want to do. If you have any more tips, leave them in the comments. And other than that, I have one more, a little wish from you. This channel is a very, very small channel, so every like, every comment, every subscription means a lot for the channel and for it to grow and for me to then create better videos for you guys. So just leave a like, comment, or share this with someone who is just now preparing a poster. And other than that, I wish you a beautiful day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.